Now, I remember when I got my first credit card, I absolutely fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with the world of credit cards, actually. And it was like $200 or something that I had in my card that I could spend in a preset limit. And it was amazing. Like, I could spend money I didn't have. And I paid it off in full every single month, like, no minimum payments or anything. Like, I literally, I had credit cards from, well, I still have them. I just don't use them anymore. But I used them from when I was 18 until when I was maybe 22 or maybe 21, I'm not sure. I think it might have been 22. So it was a solid 3 or 4 years of using credit cards. And I never missed out on a single payment. I never missed out on like a single opportunity to pay everything I owed. There was literally zero interest. So for the 4 years I used it, I never paid the dime in interest. And you might have said, well, so you're pretty responsible. You must have loved the credit cards. You must have loved the cash back and the points and all that. And I did have some of that. Obviously, well, I was 18. I didn't earn much money, and I didn't get like really high points like cards or something like that. But uh, when I read research saying that when you use credit cards, you spend on average 20% more. I was always like, oh no, but that's psychological. I'm a responsible guy. I would never do that. I don't do that kind of thing. I'm responsible. I don't spend more than I need, and everything I'm paying with my credit card, I would use it anyway. I would still go to the restaurant. I've been able to pay everything. There's no reason to assume that I shouldn't be willing to get that cash back, that I shouldn't be willing to get those points. But the reality of it is just not true, honestly. And I decided to try and give it a go because the way it worked was like something I spent it during a month, and then next month, until I don't know, just before the due date, I would take it off of whether it was my savings or my payment or whatever, and just pay the card in full. And that would always be what was happening. And that was a little bit weird because it meant that every month I spent before I earned, so to say. Obviously, I had money saved, but you know what I mean? Like you spend and then you earn and pay what you spend. And I try to do the opposite. I for a single month, I paid everything that I was due with some of my savings, and I just that one month I spent everything on my debit card, and so I withdrew something from my savings account or whatever, like 2 grand or something like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend this and no more than this during this month until my next payment comes through. And it was an interesting experience because literally that first month I spent like 20% less than I normally would have spent. Like, let's say I was spending, I don't know, uh, 2K a month. All of a sudden, I just spent 1.6, 1.5K, something like that. And for no reason. Like, just the fact that I wasn't using credit cards anymore. And I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe I was falling for this psychological shit. But I was, because I'm human. Everyone is. And you think that it's the same, but it's not. Like with debit cards, there's a fixed amount and the number is going down. With credit cards, it's a fixed amount as well, but it normally is much bigger. Like if you spend 1.5K a month, on your credit card. You might have a 5K limit or a 10K limit. So like you know that your card is always going to go through. Whereas like if you only use your checkings account with a normal debit card, and you only leave there what you're willing to spend, then you know that after that you can't spend any more than it unless you actually take it from your savings or receive a payment before it's due or something like that. But like overall, what you got is what you got, and you can much easier. It's much easier for you to set an exact limit to what you're willing to spend, and then there's no paying it afterwards. As soon like you're paying it with money you already have, and it was magic for me because I literally managed to reduce my overall total spendings in about 20% just by not using credit cards and by being diligent about how much money was actually in my account and actually being able to spend it. And I would have never expected it because I was responsible. I always paid everything in due time, and I never, like I said, I never carried a single account balance over time or overdue, or never did I pay a dime in interest. And that's when I realized that credit cards are for rich people because, well, if you think about it, a credit card makes you spend more. And the only time where you actually want to spend more than you necessarily have to is when you already have a lot of money, you know? And if you don't have a lot of money yet, it's much better for you to use a debit card. And sure, you're not going to get the 2% extra in cash back or in points or whatever, but fundamentally, it's not worth it. Because imagine you're spending 20% more and you're getting 2% in cash back or 5% in points. Like, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up if you're actually spending 20% more. And then if you tell me, no, I'm going to be diligent, you're not, because you're a human. And human beings fall for marketing and they fall for traps all the time. Just the fact that you know that there is a trap doesn't mean you're not going to fall for it. Quite the contrary, you might fall for it anyway. And so, uh, I think I would still get a credit card when I'm actually rich, and I don't mind spending the 10 20% extra. Like, imagine I'm retired and I've got $1 million in the bank, and I make 20K a month or something like that, and I don't know, I'm willing to spend 10K a month instead of 8K a month because it doesn't matter. I'm still saving a lot of money. I still got a lot of money in the bank and all that, so that doesn't matter to me anymore. And then it might make sense to actually get a credit card because then at least you're spending everything you want. You're spending on everything you want, and you're getting those points, and you're getting the perks and the lounge keys and all that. But if you're not at that point yet, where you're willing to just for no reason spend 20% more than you normally would, then there is really no, like, there are reasons to get a credit card, but those reasons they're not actually worth it. You think you're saving money, but you're actually not. And at every moment with promotions and with coupons and with points and with all that, you're incentivized to spend. And even if you're like me and you never carry your balance and you always paid it off in full, like every single month, which to me, it isn't that hard. It wasn't hard for me to do that. I honestly managed and it was okay. Uh, Even if you do that and you don't have to worry about the interest, you still have to worry about the psychology of it. And then most people I know, they actually do carry it after it's due. They actually do end up paying some interest on it. And then credit card interest is just insane. So then every little bit that you might have won in points and in cashback is definitely not worth it. So my tip for you guys would probably be stop being crazy about it. Maybe have one or two that you spend a little bit on to get like your credit going, credit scores and all that. Like if you live in the US, it's still quite important, but especially if you don't live in the US, and especially if you're not making money to a point where you know you can spend 20% more than you need and you're still going to be fine and you're not in that extreme savings rate kind of phase. Uh, if you're not in that, then sure, maybe you should you can get a credit card. Maybe you even should get a credit card. But if you are, I guarantee you're gonna save much more money by not having a credit card than you could ever save by having like cashback and points and all of that. And that's definitely what was my experience. So good luck, make good financial decisions, and don't fuck up.